We're joined now by Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff, who was the lead impeachment manager during Trump's first impeachment trial in 2020. He also served on the House January 6th committee. Congressman, thanks for joining us. You mentioned last night that anything Trump says now about this case, the justice system, all of it can be considered by the judge in sentencing, which is scheduled for the 11th of July. D.A. Bragg wouldn't say whether he'll seek prison time here, but you are a former prosecutor. Would you ask for prison time?
I would have to do research into, okay, what's the sentence like for someone who's committed a similar offense? My feeling is this judge should continue treating Donald Trump like any other American citizen, neither better nor worse. So I would want to look at, okay, other people who are charged with these kind of crimes, what kind of sentence have we asked for? And that's what I think the prosecution should do. But I do think that whatever he says between now and sentencing, like what he said yesterday, slamming the process, not taking responsibility, continue to deny his guilt, that should be considered by a judge. It would be considered by any other judge with any other defendant in terms of sentencing. And that would mean a harsher sentence than if he were accepting responsibility. But, you know, look, overall, I think Americans should feel somewhat reassured that notwithstanding all the stresses on the system, our democracy worked, justice was done, 12 ordinary Americans sat in judgment of a former president. But at the same time, we need to recognize it's going to become even more turbulent now. Of necessity, it's going to become more turbulent. I say of necessity because that case had to go forward. It did go forward. But because Trump and his MAGA followers are, digging in, because all of the enablers in Congress, including Speaker Johnson, are essentially rallying around him and in doing so trying to tear down the system, our democracy is going to go through a further test. But I do think your reporter hit it right on the nose. This is going to take a while to sink in with the American people. But I believe the American people are not going to want a convicted felon running the country. They're not going to want to turn the country into some kind of a criminal enterprise.
Congressman, just thinking of your, knowledge of history, your respect for history, what does this moment mean?
Well, I think this moment is a moment when the country is going through a turbulent time. At the moment when I think social media and how we get our information bitterly divided the country. Sadly, we had a perfect storm where a really gifted demagogue arrived on the scene at a time when the country was really vulnerable. And it has really put our democracy in question, on the edge. We're seeing things happen in the country we've never seen happen before. It would have been unthinkable that someone who was even alleged to have committed the acts that Donald Trump committed would be considered viable for any political office. But now we have not only this same convicted felon about to seize the nomination, but we have all the top Republican officials in the country rallying around him.
Yeah.
That is historic in the most negative of ways. We've never seen anything like it, and God help us if we ever do in the future.
I mean, to your point about how the Republican Party is reacting, I want you to hear from your Republican colleagues there in Washington who have been attacking the verdict. Listen to this.
If they do this, if they turn the American system of justice into banana republic garbage, they're going to suffer consequences for it.
This was a political smear job. This was an attack job. This is what you see in banana republics. And it is, I am both furious and heartbroken at the same time. I'm furious at what we saw, but I'm also heartbroken for the rule of law.
This is the most outrageous travesty I've ever seen. And the problem here is Democrats have crossed this line. They have crossed the line in which now the court system is a political weapon, and it's going to be very hard for it not to come back the other way.
What do you say to that?
Well, what can you say other than this is the most shameful, craven demonstration of their political lives? What have they become? I mean, I just can't imagine that the three speakers you just heard from, if they were asked 10 or 15 years ago, do you see yourself either standing out in front of a courthouse vouching for the character of someone paying hush money to cover up an affair with a porn star? Can you imagine advocating for them to be president? What has happened to these people? And, you know, I think the short answer is, as the historian Robert Caro once said, power doesn't corrupt as much as it reveals. And power is revealing so many of the people in today's GOP to be utterly craven, to care about nothing but gaining power. And they're willing to forsake and trash our whole democracy, our whole justice system, if they can just get to power or more power. And, you know, it is horribly revealing. It also revealed people like Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger to be people of great courage and character, but it revealed how very rare they are.